Go live.
6 o'clock. Not 6:03, 6 o'clock.
6 on the dot. Well, it just turned 6:01.
We were live at 6. I saw it. You all saw it.
We all saw it. We were here at 6 o'clock. Hello.
But that we made up the time for not doing this for 2 weeks. We took 2 weeks
Has
off.
it been 2 weeks?
It's been 2 weeks
Oh my goodness.
that we had no Lego stream. But now we're back.
Who do we think we are?
I don't know, but we're going to finish this thing.
Oh,
what'd he get?
Brought his bone in here.
Are we sure that's his bone?
I hope so. It sounds...
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's a bone. So if you hear crunching in the background, it's him.
That's probably going to be annoying.
He won't do it the whole time.
We'll see.
What's up, everybody?
I'll let chat dictate. If it's too loud and annoying, I'll go get it.
What's up,
but
Dark Car?
it's too hot to walk him much or let him outside much, so he's...
Oh, man. I went outside with him for maybe 5 minutes, and it's 95 out. And I had to turn the hose on and just spray myself on my feet because I was, like, burning up just for being out there for 5 minutes. So I can imagine how hot he was. But he was just out there barking at birds.
Like he does.
But yeah, we desperately need to finish this indie set because it is old news.
I wanted to finish this before Indy 5 came out. And just like every other thing that I'm like, the goal is to finish it before now, like our Clone Wars chronological rewatch. I missed the target.
Yeah, we're just always falling behind on this stuff, and it's okay. But after we finish this, what are we building?
We have helmets to build.
Yeah.
Probably build a helmet.
Build some helmets. I'm just ready for October to get here.
Molly's got the Hocus Pocus set. Yeah, I think we have the Bosch helmet, Cody, Rex. I think we have 3 helmets that we could build.
Plenty to do. And I have a whole page of stickers here for this set that I'm excited about because I'm on sticker duty.
You can go ahead and do that sticker whenever you want.
Okay. Let me go ahead and read.
I know you're excited.
This message from Gio Flores. Thanks for the super chat, Gio. Just saying hi, heading out to see the Haunted Mansion. I'll miss the stream, unfortunately. That's okay. Go have fun watching Haunted Mansion. I hope it's good. And one Danny EFC sent in a super chat. Wish Outlaws didn't lean so much into the original trilogy.
I've seen that a lot. That's probably the most common criticism I've seen of Outlaws is just that people are ready to expand a little more, which I do get. I personally am always like advocating for introducing new characters instead of seeing the same ones over and over, which we are getting new characters with Outlaws, but when they said that they wanted, like, I guess the story that they told about how they decided on this era, it made sense because Ubisoft, Julian Garrity said they wanted to tell this criminal syndicate story, and then Lucasfilm said, well, you know, there's this point in the timeline where they're all kind of at each other's throats and fighting each other, and Julian was like, that sounds great. And it is a very chaotic time specifically for the syndicates, so it makes sense why they chose it.
I mean, for it to be an open world game, the first completely open world Star Wars game, I'm kind of glad it's set in the time that it is. I saw the real Doomslayer 420 say, yeah, why don't we get Clone Wars era video games? I mean, we got a lot of Clone Wars era content in Battlefront too.
Yeah, that Battlefront was kind of everything, but I'm on board with people who are crossing their fingers for Respawn to make a new Republic Commando game or something similar.
Yeah, I just think, like, if they're being honest with themselves, they're saying what's gonna sell the most copies, and it's something from the original trilogy. It's gonna cover every age group. You know, it's gonna get the older, angrier crowd who doesn't like the prequels. you know?
I mean, I agree with that to an extent, but I think if it depends on what the game is. And since this is supposed to be a criminal syndicate game, I think it makes the most sense for the original trilogy where we know of the most syndicates. But if they're doing a team-based shooter, which I don't know what kind of shooter exactly the Respawn game will be, but if that's what it's supposed to be, then prequel era makes a lot more sense, I think.
Yeah, I think they said that on the panel, that the very first idea that they had for this game was for Kay's character, like for her to be a smuggler.
Yeah.
And then they just went from there and talked to Lucasfilm, like you said, and they were like, here's where you'll have the most fun for a smuggler character.
Yeah, I kind of think, I mean, they said Lucasfilm mentioned this specific era, and Julian got really excited about it. I wouldn't be surprised if they mentioned several eras where it could work. Like they could have done I get the other era that popped into my head was more like the Fallen Order era, which I'm like, they probably don't want to saturate that part. They could have maybe done a criminal syndicate thing in the Clone Wars, but there's so much other stuff happening in that time period that it makes more sense for like a shooter to be there, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm seeing people in the chat say that they're gonna avoid Tatooine. I feel like for a game like this, I am actively excited to look around Tatooine because you can just walk around and do anything. I want to go to the cantina. I want to go to Jabba's palace and sneak around. Like, if it is truly open world, and we'll get to just go into the cantina and see some of the familiar characters that might be there, that's exciting.
I'm certainly interested in going to Tatooine. It won't be the first planet I want to visit. I think off the top of my head, I mean, Tashara is the new one, so that sounds cool, but Akiva, a planet that I've read about but never seen, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
But I get like we've seen Tatooine so many times, but I think that's part of the allowing that as an option to the fantasy, where it's like you don't have to go to Tatooine. You probably do at some point, but it's like you don't have to spend all your time with the Hutts. You can go somewhere else. But for people who grew up with the originals and they're like, I would sure like to go walk around the cantina, it makes sense.
The next two super chats are from Darth Nicholas, and I'll read this one first since it's relevant. As someone who's currently reading and loving the Republic Commando novels, just started the third one, True Colors. The next Star Wars games I want to see are Imperial Commando and Rebel Commando with Sev, respectively. I'm not surprised, Darth Nicholas. That tracks for you. That tracks for you,
yep. How many times have you read if this is your first time reading the Republic Commando novels, I'll be shocked.
But their other question was totally non-Star Wars and non-indie related, but did any of you see Barbie and Barbenheimer, yet? If so, which of those two movies did you prefer, and what are your overall thoughts on both of them? I wish we had seen either of them by now, but we still have not, because we were going to see Barbie, and then we found out we were going to San Diego Comic-Con, and we had to kind of rush and get ready for that. So we are going to see Barbie tomorrow, and we'll see Oppenheimer at some point.
So we will report back.
We'll report back, yeah. I'm so excited to see Barbie. Oppenheimer
I'm excited for Oppenheimer. I mean, I love... Oh, you're going to bring the bone over here now, where it's louder? All right, Hilo, I get it.
I just, like, from what people are saying about the two movies, once I see Barbie, I'm not going to care about any other movie. Once I see Barbie, it'll be spooky movies for me for the rest of the year until Christmas.
I want to see Oppenheimer, but I want to see Barbie more.
Yeah. Johnny C. Books and Comics says, I'll wait for streaming for Oppenheimer. Like,
it's a long one, right?
Yeah.
That's one where...
It's like 3 hours. And like...
Our old people backs can't handle those theater seats anymore.
It's really gotta be a movie that has me super excited to go and spend 3 hours in the theater. Like a Lord of the Rings movie, great. I'll spare 3 hours of my day to see that in a theater. Oppenheimer,
An intense drama, yeah, like
it's just like I like dramas, but I'm real picky and choosy these days about which movies I see in the theater. Maybe it's because of the pandemic. Maybe I've always been that way, but
well, part of it is that every time we go to the theater now, it seems like everyone forgot how to be in a theater.
oh yeah, it's awful
And it
now.
drives me crazy.
People
the
are
amount of
just
people who are talking loudly or
on their
like pulling their
phone.
phones out and like, that has changed since COVID,
Yeah.
and it drives me off the wall. Off the wall, up the wall.
Up the
It drives
wall.
me somewhere on the wall.
Yeah. And I do think that's a movie that most people will say is going to be a better experience in the theater.
Oh
but
yeah, Chris Nolan is writing you a letter right now.
Sure. I mean, I still haven't seen the new Avatar movie, and everyone was like, that one has to be seen in like the IMAX, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I will not see it. Period. I won't even watch it on the plane. When I'm literally stuck in a seat with a screen in front of me for 4 hours, I will not watch that movie.
It's true. I looked at it and I chose to watch 65 instead, the one where Adam Driver fights dinosaurs.
Right. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to talk about Barbie in our next live stream and how much I loved it. Oh, and then Darth Nicholas also said Alden Ehrenreich's in Oppenheimer, the first time I've seen him since Solo. I did know that. William Vose says, is cereal soup? Is hot dog a sandwich? Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Hot dog is
Cereal-
a
okay,
hot
we're
dog
gonna
is
start with
not,
hot dog. Okay.
I don't think a hot dog is a sandwich because in my mind a sandwich has to have two separate pieces of bread. You can have like a sub or like a hoagie where it's like one piece of bread that's cut. That's closer to a hot dog.
But you wouldn't call a hoagie a hot dog.
No, I'd call it a hoagie. Slang.
I don't think
I would use sandwich loosely in that way, but if we're taking this question as is it truly a this or that, I'm saying it's not a sandwich.
I don't think a hot dog is a sandwich either, because sandwiches are eaten horizontally. You put your layers on, you fold it over, and the cut's on the side. You eat a hot dog. No one eats a sandwich vertically. That's weird.
I eat a hot dog however way I need to not make a mess.
Well, it's not sideways.
Well, sometimes you gotta just like.
You turn your head sideways,
It's
but
like
if you turn the
shotgunning a
hot dog
beer.
sideways, if you turn the hot dog sideways, all the toppings would fall off. If you had a chili dog, you couldn't eat it like that.
I don't know. I don't know what happens or where I go when I eat hot dogs. I go into another dimension.
Yeah, it's always a mistake for you. Oh no,
Hot
I
dogs,
did it again.
Hot dogs and tacos, as soon as I take a bite, everything just like falls out of my vessel.
Same thing, like a taco. That's not a sandwich, but it's still bread with filling.
Mm-hmm.
A quesadilla, though, kind of a sandwich.
Yeah.
That's like a grilled cheese of sorts.
But quesadilla is a way more fun word to use instead of Mexican sandwich. They do have the Mexican pizza at Taco Bell, but that's different.
Was there another part to that question? Oh yeah, soup and...
Soup and is cereal soup?
Because there is cold soup,
But
it's not like soup
Isn't-
has to have a broth, right?
isn't cold soup like gazpacho? Don't you still have to cook that in some form or fashion? You don't cook cereal. Or I mean, I guess canned soup you just heat it up, but still like. What are other cold soups?
I don't know.
No, cereal's not soup. That's gross.
Soup has to have a broth in it, I think. That'd be my...
Yeah, and I guess it could depend on what kind of milk you're using, because milk is definitely not broth.
Do not put broth in your cereal.
But would you consider like a nut milk to be broth?
No. I don't know the intricacies of broth, but
I think broth has to be cooked, so
yeah, right? I don't know.
no. I'm just gonna say no, because I like soup and I like cereal, and there's different things. End of story. I'm putting my foot down.
Okay.
Now I want a soup and sandwich. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Sean Room's coming to Dragon Con. We convinced so many people to come to Dragon Con. Well, I guess we didn't convince all of them, but I think word of mouth.
People are only coming because we go. Because we're so cool.
I'm getting nervous with the amount of new people coming, because I'm like, I can't show you guys everything there is about Dragon Con. That's our time to get a little crazy. But it's gonna be a fun time. What's up, Irish Nexus?
Hey, Cyrus.
Oh, yeah. Johnny C Books and Comics is going to Dragon Con.
Yep. Saw some people on our Patreon asking about Dragon Con as well, just because they're going for the first time.
It's a lot. It can be pretty overwhelming, and the way we do Dragon Con is very different from a first timer's way of doing Dragon Con.
That's true.
We don't do any panels anymore unless we're on them. Or I guess trivia counts.
That's not completely true, but for the most part, we just spend our time hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
Like, we'll do the occasional panel. The publishing panel, the Star Wars publishing panel is always a good time. But it's very different from, like, Star Wars Celebration, where we make our schedule around the panels. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's like, not really.
This one, it's kind of one of the ones where you're like, what time is an acceptable time to start drinking?
It's not kind of like that. It is like that.
And the acceptable answer is after you've had some food. Whenever that is. Yeah, looking forward to seeing friends. Sean says, looking forward to seeing friends, people watching, perhaps drinking a bit too much, feeling less stressed about it because I know I won't have to be anywhere. That's honestly the best part about going to a convention like Dragon Con, is like, it's very chill. You want to keep kind of an open mind with your schedule, because it's fun to literally just stand around and people watch.
The cosplays are insane.
The cosplays are insane.
And you'll see something from your childhood that you forgot about, and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that thing. And then you'll run over and you'll tell that person, and they'll be so excited that anyone recognized them. Mm-hmm. Those are some of my favorite interactions.
I'll never forget Blanket from Brave Little Toaster.
Uh-huh.
Someone was cosplaying as Blanket, and I almost cried. I was like, oh my god, it's Blanket. I was also several drinks in at that point, so anything could have made me cry.
God forbid you see a Grogu.
I've seen a lot of Grogus. I also almost cry every time I see the Wall-E robot.
Yeah.
I just...
Oh yeah, there's like an area where all the droid builders hang out. It's so cool.
It's always fun to see like little kids walk up to the droids and be like, whoa, are you real? Dark Nicholas, thanks for another super chat. Regarding Pong Krell, do you like what they did with him, or would you prefer if he was just a careless general who remained loyal to the Jedi with no intention of becoming Dooku's apprentice and was still fragged by clones?
I like what they did with him. I wouldn't have minded a careless general story, but like he was over the top evil. He went beyond careless.
Yeah. I think I like what they did with him too. I don't know if I have a hard opinion either way. Having Ponkrell remain a Jedi despite being absolutely corrupted by war without turning him into a wannabe dark side apprentice may have been too much of a gamble for a show that was to a large extent targeted at kids.
I do think it would have been interesting to see. I'm trying to remember if certainly there were other characters that treated the clones as tools. And that's kind of how Ponkrell's story started, and then you get deeper and deeper and you're like, God, no, he's way worse. I guess the Bad Batch kind of explored that a bit more, of just leaders who don't care at all.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry about that. Johnny C. Books and Comics said they were having some credit card fraud, so their Patreon didn't go through.
Oh, don't. That happens. It's okay.
I thought you were saying you're not doing super chats right now because you're saving money for DragonCon, and I was going to say that is a good idea.
Also, yes.
And Jill, I'm pretty sure the Wally has a little cockroach on him.
Oh, I'd have to look at pictures.
I mean, there's usually multiple droid builders with Wallies there, so one of them's got to have a roach on him. Little roach friend. Tater Tot says hi, and that they started the Rise of the Red Blade, only a few chapters in, loving it. No spoilers, please. How are you guys, and what did you think of the book overall? I am also only a few chapters into it because I've been reading like 1 or 2 chapters at a time at night, and if you know me, when I start reading, I just immediately fall asleep. So I'm loving the book. I need to just sit down during the day while consuming caffeine and read it because reading just makes me so sleepy.
That's awesome. We'll get back to Rise of the Red Blade in a second, but when we put the idol on it, it will sink into the pit. Like, that's cool. I really enjoyed it. I finished it a few weeks ago. There was a definite turning point where I went from like, I like this, to what, like, oh wow, this got real good.
I just love Delilah Dawson's writing style so much. And I like how she writes complex women in Star Wars.
Violent women, she calls them.
Violent women.
Yeah, but
complex is like
yeah, I know.
a nicer way to put it. Do we know if Delilah is going to DragonCon? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked her when I got to interview her. I was like, 4. I was like, "Are we going to see you at DragonCon?" She said, "Of course." So.
Yay.
That she, I've told the story on the interview that she was my first author interview ever.
Was it
I think.
at DragonCon?
Yeah. I know Michael Stackpole, I think, was my first official as media interview, but when we were just like kind of starting the channel and we were out and about, and it was 2015, I think, and I just emailed her and I was like, would you want to talk about Star Wars? And she said, sure. And at that point, I think she had written that short story, The Perfect Weapon. But that was super fun. And we just sat on the floor and talked.
Well, we got our fake Doomslayer in the chat.
Oh, it's been a while.
see you, Rain Man. You gotta stop that. I just assume it's him because every time it's where's Rain Man. Okay, where was I? Next super chat. Oh, I can't remember how to pronounce their name. Than? T-H-A-N-H.
Oh no, I'm gonna feel like a jerk. Tan?
Tan. It's been a while. We are
I just had book club with them.
Taon. Taon? T-A-H/O-N.
Okay.
Sorry. We meet a lot of people and don't remember a lot of names. But thank you for the super chat. Hi, Molly and Alex, and thanks for the Survivor Book Club San Diego Comic-Con questions. Did you see Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks crossover? And what Star Wars universe crossover would you like to see? So we haven't gotten into that show.
I haven't watched a Star Trek show since Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I've never watched any Star Trek shows, really.
Nothing against them, but just I really enjoyed seeing people enjoying the crossover. So they did Lower Decks is like the jokey animated Star Trek show, and they brought two of the characters into live action for Strange New Worlds, and it looked like a lot of fun. And I've had tons of people tell me to watch Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
So I need, and that made me want to see it.
And what Star Wars universe crossover would you like to see?
First of all, I kind of wish Star Wars had, I think we've talked about this before, but had an official kind of jokey show like that. Robot Chicken.
Like a tag and bink sort of thing?
Yeah. Just something that was very lighthearted, even poking fun at Star Wars and some of its silliness. Like our friend Mark from Templin Institute sent me a clip from Lower Decks because I was talking about in Star Trek the Motion Picture, there's like this 5-minute sequence, like literally it's 5 minutes, maybe longer, where they're all just like looking at the Enterprise and everyone's like, wow, look how great it is. And it's just music and they're just looking at the ship. And Lower Decks made fun of that. And so I'm like, I wouldn't mind a Star Wars show that did that.
Yeah. Crossover. Trying to think of what would make sense.
I guess along the same veins of keeping it within the same universe, I would like to see a mention, something in the High Republic. Let's get the kids from Young Jedi Adventures in there. Bring Nubs into the comic or something.
Oh, I was thinking like other fandoms.
You can.
So yours is a Star Wars crossover within it itself.
Yeah, that's what Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds is. They're both Star Trek shows.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well then in that regard, Nubs is a really good one. Oh, I mean, I've talked about this kind of recently, but I think it would be cool to see the Bendu in the High Republic. If he is this kind of force-like being that has existed for however long, I think it'd be cool to see him pop up in a different timeline.
I think we just talked about that on our Season 3 rewatch video.
Yes.
So no one else has seen that yet, but that's why it feels familiar to you.
I haven't even edited it yet. Yeah, our Rebels rewatch discussions have been really, really fun, and like just rewatching that show has been so eye-opening for me. I didn't realize how much I liked it until we got started with this rewatch, but Sunday, I think, is when Season 2's video comes out.
Yeah. We're doing good on that one so far. We just have to finish Season 4 and record it, so we should have our rewatch done when we said we were going to have it done. So So good job, us.
Good job, us. And the way we've been going, you know, I think we can power through.
Oh yeah, we've been
season 4.
flying through the rewatch.
Matthew Cullinard, thank you for the next super chat. When are you guys gonna have some younglings of your own? Well, we have Hilo.
Yeah, we have Hilo and Pippin.
We have Hilo and Pippin.
We have tons of Grogus. So many action figures. Molly's got a toad outside.
My familiar. I haven't seen Toad since we got back into town.
Well, we had.
I hope he's okay.
He's probably fine, but the light wasn't on outside, so he probably was like, I guess I have to go somewhere else for bugs.
What if it's too hot for Toad and he was boiled somewhere?
No. Don't say that.
We did see a deer while we were on a walk the other day. I saw it twice. I assume it was the same deer. But we kind of locked eyes, and I was like, I have another familiar now, and it's that deer. But yeah, I think we'll just probably stick with animals.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's talk some more about Ponkrell here. Next two are from Darth Nicholas. I'd like to think that there were other careless Jedi generals just like Ponkrell who viewed their clones as nothing more than expendable biological robots, but with no intention of changing allegiances.
There definitely were.
Yeah, there had to have been. And then next one here. I'm so glad the homeless 501st clone veteran from Kenobi has a name now, Nax. Thanks to Comic-Con.
Just did a video on that.
Really?
Yeah, I talked about that. I told you about it.
When did that happen?
It's the Dawn of Rebellion reference book.
Oh.
I told you I was doing a video on the reference book.
I have grass in my hair.
What is wrong with you? You are a mess.
Choo choo. I'm on the Hot Mess
Hot
Express.
Mess Express.
Sorry. I was outside playing with Hilo.
Were you rolling around?
No.
But yeah, they showed off a couple pages at the publishing panel, and one of them had like a little
I didn't
corner about Nax.
We didn't take a good close look at those.
But they released them online.
Okay.
And yeah, I am also excited about not just Nax, but that reference books are coming back. I've missed visual guides, and I like getting all those details about background characters, just like the clone veteran.
He said, did you know he first appeared and was named in Karen Travis's The Clone Wars movie novelization?
Oh, no. I did not. Well, now I
Mr.
might have to update my video.
Mr. Smarty Pants.
I didn't. Sticker 6 on that. Please.
I don't like how you tapped at me.
You're on sticker duty. And I need a sticker.
I'll do it when I'm good and ready.
Well, then I can't continue with the set.
Ice has the next one here. Enjoying your Rebels rewatch, but it's reminding me I need to get started on my own. Starting it on Saturday, really looking forward to revisiting it. Yeah, I mean, if you're like us, when we started it, once we got, like, into the end of season 1 and into season 2, we were flying through episodes because it's just so good. And they're shorter episodes, so that's nice.
I liked season 1 a lot more than I remembered, especially the early episodes. I thought it would take me more time to really get into it, but it did not.
This might be a show that I just put on and rewatch more than once, more than twice maybe.
Yeah, you've never done that. You've never seen...
Not with a Star Wars show. Yeah, it might just be like my new comfort show. Maybe.
It's like by the end of every season of any show, Star Wars show, we've watched it like 3 times at least.
Yeah. Now I'm like, how much more grass is in my hair? Oh my gosh, Johnny C. Books and Comics said Started the Complete Rebels rewatch after seeing your video on Sunday and finished 2 seasons in 2 days.
They're nice short episodes.
That's commitment.
Yep.
Proud of you.
You can get through it fast, and I like that.
Scarlet Wolf asks if we want to see a movie set on Kashyyyk.
A whole movie?
A whole movie, maybe. I think that would be cool.
I don't think I'd want a whole movie set on any one planet.
Maybe
I mean,
holiday special.
even that went around and showed us different weird stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, James Mangold was saying that his version of Boba Fett was going to have... It was going to be all on one planet. But I don't know. I really like my Star Wars movies to zip around and go to different planets. So it would be different, but I would adjust to it. You know, an episode of a show, I don't mind taking place all on one planet, but my gut says, oh, I'd miss all the other planets.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it wouldn't be Star Wars if a movie stayed on one single planet the whole time.
It would be.
You gotta bop around a little.
It would be, but that's my preference for Star Wars, is more galaxy hopping.
And then, thank you for the super chat, Scarlet Wolf. They also said, I'm halfway through the second book of the Thrawn trilogy and loving it. Thanks for all the awesome book suggestions. You are welcome.
Yeah, glad you're liking it. Did it say which Thrawn trilogy? Because there are 3.
Second book of the Thrawn trilogy. It didn't say. If it's alliances, I loved that one.
My favorite Thrawn trilogy is the Legends one, but I love the Thrawn book from 2017, I think it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was right before Celebration Orlando.
I keep forgetting that our super chat spreadsheet doesn't get the member messages, so I scrolled back up to find one from Ice. Thank you, Ice. Member for 2 months of the Bigga Mega Fans.
Bigga Mega Fans.
Bigs Mega Fans. Hello there. I hope everything is good with you guys. Going to see Mission Impossible tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. Here's to a great weekend. Nice.
I liked Mission Impossible a lot. Molly didn't go see it with me. I had to go alone.
Had to go alone?
I
You
had
could've
to
found
go
someone
alone.
else to go. I just didn't want to see it. I was like, I'd rather sit on this couch and do nothing.
That's fine.
Actually, wait, what was I doing? Packing?
I think you sat on the couch and did nothing. And that's okay.
Well, I was probably tired from packing. And then another Biggs Mega Fans member message from Lightspeed Bear. Finally started playing Jedi Survivor, and it's so good. I'm enjoying it even more than Fallen Order. Love these characters so much. Marin is so cool. Yay!
Everybody loves Marin.
It's true.
We need to make that a sitcom.
It's true.
Everybody hates Perrin. Everybody loves Marin.
That's got to be like a bumper sticker or something. Some more messages from Darth Nicholas. Do you think The Bad Batch would be better as an anthology series with a title like Dark Times, not to be confused with the Dark Horse comics of the same name starring Darth Vader, Test, blah 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 names. Do we think The Bad Batch would be better as an anthology
I like
series?
The Bad Batch as it is.
What would be different if it were an
I guess if
anthology
it followed,
series?
if it didn't just follow the Bad Batch, but followed a bunch of different characters, like every season or every episode was different.
I like the way it's told, the story in the way that it's told, because it's about them, right? It shouldn't be centered or focused on any other characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nicholas is just saying that they want more stories in this era.
Oh, okay. I mean, fair, but I don't know. I like the way that they're telling that story.
I really like The Bad Batch. That's another series, kind of like Rebels, that I was like, I don't know about this. I'm iffy on following these kind of caricature characters. And then very quickly, I really started to like it.
Yeah. And then they asked, some of us are wondering if Merrick, the Inquisitor, will be a canon version of Galen Merrick. Are we wondering that? Or
Definitely some people online. I've seen that going around.
Or do you think it's Ezra, as some have theorized? What do you all think? Well, he thinks it's the eighth brother.
Yep.
I think it's a new character.
I still think it's the eighth brother. I was looking at the armor today just to refresh my mind, and I'm like, I feel less confident, but it just seems strange to me that there would be another Inquisitor all of a sudden 10 years, over like 12 years after the last Inquisitor we saw, which was the eighth brother and the fifth brother and seventh sister. Like, they all died on Malachor, but I mean, the eighth brother just fell. And when has that ever killed a Force user before?
Yeah.
His armor doesn't look identical, but I feel like it looks pretty close, and I could chalk it up to just animated versus live action interpretation.
Do you think maybe the only way that we'll know that it is the eighth brother is if Ahsoka's like, I should have killed you back then? Or like, you know...
Maybe. I mean, if she recognizes him.
To, oh, it's you.
Yeah. I don't know. If it is, I think they'll call him the eighth brother. I don't know what they're going to do with this character, but like, his name is Marok, or their name, because we don't know yet, but the Inquisitor's name is Marok, not Merrick.
Yeah.
I don't think they're trying to play coy with Starkiller or anything.
Yeah, I just think if we're going by what they've done in the past, I think it's a brand new character.
That is usually the answer. It will be, like, they could also have made it similar to the eighth brother on purpose, so people like me would go, oh, it's the eighth brother, and then they really surprise me with, nope, it's Ezra or something. But for now, I'm going with eighth brother. Boring answer.
It's the eighth stepbrother. First stepbrother.
Sticker 9. Chop chop.
Oh, okay. Scarlet Wolf sent another super chat in and specified that it's the Timothy Zahn trilogy I'm reading.
Great.
Which do you recommend I read next? Will we get an appearance from Pippin this afternoon?
That's up to Pippin.
Which number? 9?
Yes. Yeah. The Legends Thrawn trilogy is probably the best thing to read before we see him in live action and get into all of that. After that, I would go with the Thrawn Alliance's Thrawn Treason trilogy. I mean, I guess just do release order like I usually tell people to do, because it makes the most sense. But those are the stories I think that might be more closely connected to what we see. Yeah. And then if you're really hankering for more Thrawn, read the Ascendancy trilogy.
Can we turn the fan on?
Sure.
I'm sweating in here. It is hot.
It's only 96 degrees outside. I don't know why you're complaining. Yeah. Maybe hit it one more time. That could be...
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Oops.
Claireborn Davis, thank you for the next super chat. Love your videos. As a more casual Star Wars fan, would you recommend watching Clone Wars before Rebels? I want to watch Rebels before Ahsoka, but I've heard it's kind of a sequel to Clone Wars. You won't have time. Don't worry about Clone Wars before Ahsoka. I would say you're fine to just watch Rebels, and then maybe you can revisit Clone Wars after.
I will say that we watched Rebels before seeing the Clone Wars, or at least season 1, and I wasn't confused by it. I knew some stuff from Clone Wars already.
I don't think you need.
I don't think you need it. And I agree that's Clone Wars is a much bigger commitment. Some people have done online, you can find a good list of Ahsoka centric episodes. So maybe do that. Maybe go through and watch the Ahsoka specific episodes from the Clone Wars that will tell you her story, because not every episode has Ahsoka in it.
Were you gonna do a video leading into Ahsoka that was basically like, here are the must-watch episodes?
I was just gonna do a video about Ahsoka and the story so far.
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly where, but I have seen some people making lists of the Ahsoka episodes. In fact, there might be one on StarWars.com at this point. But there are some episodes and some story arcs from Clone Wars that will enhance your
experience.
Enhance your experience when watching Rebels and Ahsoka, just knowing more about Ahsoka's background. But it's not, like, required viewing. Disney Plus has a set of Ahsoka Essential episodes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I heard someone saying that they had a list, or maybe you had made, like, a playlist or something. So check that out. But if you're trying to just watch something before Ahsoka, I think Rebels will do it. What numbers?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. Theronauti has the next super chat. Love the shirt, Molly. Thank you. Congress did their best today to make the world worse for trans folks. Thanks to both of you for working to make your corner of the internet a welcoming place instead.
What did they do now?
Dude, they're just... Things are rough right now. We got aliens. We got just so many bad things happening in the world. I can't even keep track, but...
It was baffling to me yesterday that people were like, hey, aliens might exist. And I was just like, I don't have a response to this today. Like, teenage me would be freaking out. Adult me was just like, okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's a good thing that we've got aliens now, because that should make us come together as a human race, right?
Well, that's what we were talking about also, that the timing of this feels weird, and it's like, yeah, maybe they're trying to pull a Watchmen on us.
Oh yeah, like, look over here.
Ozymandias is like he makes an alien attack, and then humanity comes together.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people also think it's just...
I'm not trying to get all crazy tinfoil hat.
Let's get into some conspiracy theories. But no, I appreciate your super chat. And
yes.
You're right. We try to keep this space a welcoming space. So thank you. But yes, some people think that all the alien stuff is like just a way to funnel more money into the military. And by some people, I mean Ken. I don't know. I just think it's funny that like a lot of my TikToks right now are all saying the same thing, and it's all like, so there's aliens, huh? Great. Is anyone watching the World Cup? Like, no one cares.
I need 11 now. I don't know why they didn't just have you do all of those at the same time, but...
D-Train, what's up? Thank you for the next super chat. Finally saw Obi-Wan and I was disappointed. A missed opportunity was when they didn't have Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan actually talk about why Anakin went to the dark side when he was perceived as the chosen one. That would have been a cool conversation.
Of everything that I was also not blown away by Obi-Wan. But the Qui-Gon stuff, the way they handled it, that it was kind of part of Obi-Wan's arc of coming back, and that he was like ready to see Qui-Gon. I really liked how they used Qui-Gon. Wouldn't have minded seeing more. I was
Yeah.
nervous and scared that I was like, oh, Qui-Gon's just not going to be in this, and then he popped up right at the end, and I was relieved. But
I wonder if like if that was just the deal that they made, and Liam Neeson was like, I'll come back for one scene, and they were like, okay, deal.
maybe. But yeah, I like how he was used. So
But if we get an Obi-Wan season 2, like that would be a great opportunity to do exactly that. Have them be able to have a conversation.
yeah.
And maybe I don't know, we're gonna get more Obi-Wan stories from the Certain Point of View books.
Well, one.
Yeah. I mean, we could continue to get more of them in the future, but
Yeah, but from a certain point of view, not everyone wrote an Obi-Wan story.
they're all Obi-Wan stories. It's all different
He did
characters.
coin the phrase.
It's all different characters, but they're all talking to Obi-Wan.
It's all them going to Obi-Wan and being like, why did you lie about this? And he says, well, from a certain point of view. And they're like, stop with that excuse.
And they're like, get out. I cleanse my house of ghosts. Get out. Sticker time. I need absolute silence to concentrate. No, I don't. Darth Nicholas, even though the eighth brother was barefoot in Rebels, this wouldn't be the first time we've seen a usually barefoot alien species now wear shoes in live action. Just look at the Pikes in the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, I don't think they're worried about that amount of detail. And it's like, they're trying to be as practical as they can when translating these animated alien species into live action.
Yeah, most people watching the show are not going to have any idea
The foot.
who the eighth brother is, if that's
We
who it turns
will.
out to be. Yeah.
But I won't hold it against them. Ice has the next 2 super chats. Here's an Outlaws question for you. Do you think Kajimi could be the site of a turf war between the Ashiga clan and the Spice Runners?
Yep. That was kind of what today's video was about.
Yeah, and then also, Kay could work as a gun for hire for either faction, and if the clan takes some major hits, could explain why the Spice Runner run things by the sequel trilogy.
Yep. I think that would be fun to see 2 clans fighting it out on the same planet. Because I was surprised when I was like, Ashiga clan sounds cool, and they're like, they're on Kajimi, and I was like, interesting. Figured that would be Spice Runners. And then the Rebellion Return of the Jedi comic that came out last week, I was like, but they did kind of just bring up Zori's grandmother's death in a comic, so maybe the Ashiga clan is making moves.
Yeah. And then Ice continues to say that neither of them are considered big players, and it kind of makes sense if they mainly operate from one planet, and it would go under the radar of the larger syndicates. I think this has potential.
Yeah, that's also kind of interesting that they're all fighting over Kajimi, and none of the other syndicates care.
Yeah. They're like, you can have that planet. But no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And we did talk about some of that stuff once we started finding out more details about Kajimi and the Ashiga clan. I'm excited to see how they operate, because they did say that they were like a hive mind type species.
Yeah, I like that.
So, feels like a really good species to have in a video game, because that would mean that they're all kind of connected. And
if one sees you, then they all see you. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I can't make any moves against them. They're gonna find me immediately. I'm so bad at stealth.
Darth Nicholas has a random lore question. Would Darth Vader have trusted the clones of the 501st he fought with both during the Jedi Temple massacre and in the months after to keep his true identity a secret?
I would guess no.
You think they killed them all?
Well, in Legends, he kept the 501st around. In canon, it seems like they went a different direction with it. Like, I'm pretty sure the 501st Stormtrooper Corps, like, they're still in the stories, but they're not Vader's fist anymore. Mm-hmm. At least from what I remember in Thrawn Alliances, Timothy Zahn said that they asked him to move away from the 501st and to keep that more of a clone legion, because that would have been another connection to Anakin that, like, Palpatine would want to get rid of. So it's kind of like, I think in Legends, yes, he would have trusted them. In canon, probably not.
Yeah, because it feels too likely that one of them would snitch on who his real identity is.
Clones be gossiping.
They be gossiping. That, or like maybe they figured out a way to just like brain wipe them after every...
Oh, the old brain scrape.
Yeah, after every like mission or every day even. They just souped up the chips in their heads so they couldn't remember it.
They had the Mind Flayer from The Mandalorian.
Yeah. If some clones... Okay, wait. What am I trying to say? If clones knew not to kill some specific Jedi because they were going to be eventually Inquisitors, then some clones could also have a way of not being able to remember Darth Vader's identity.
Yeah, just built into the chips.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can't say yes to this over here without also making this okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
We can fit that into the chip lore.
Chip firmware. They get an update every so often.
Yeah. I trust Palpatine to figure that out. I'm getting so many messages. We're doing Jaws trivia tonight on the Certain Point of View Patreon. So if any of you guys like Jaws trivia, you should check that out. I have seen Jaws, maybe Jaws 2? I can't remember if I've seen the second one, but the trivia is on all four, and so I am just reading the questions. I will not be participating.
It's been... I barely remember anything about Jaws 2. I know I've seen it. Jaws 1, I think I'd do all right on trivia.
We were trying to think of a good franchise for the summertime months.
Uh-huh.
And
Might
Jaws
as
is a
well
good one.
do both of them. And then you'll... Oh, no, there's 2 more stickers still.
2 more stickers. Oh my gosh, we're almost done. Perfect timing.
I have one more bag. One more bag, and then it's done.
Oh, I thought you had opened all the bags. Matt Lang, thank you for the next super chat. Anyone remember the Thrawn duology with fake Thrawn? That was wild. What are your favorite bizarre things from Legends?
Ooh.
P.S. I pray Eli is in Ahsoka.
I would love for Eli to be in Ahsoka. To build off of a wild Thrawn thing, the time he wore Jodo Cast's armor on a mission.
Really?
Yeah. I love fake Boba Fett Jodo Cast. Like, we'll just keep building off of this. I'll do like a stream of consciousness. Here's another weird thing from Legends, but I love that Jodo Cast exists because Boba Fett died. And then I think it was a tabletop RPG was like, well, we want Boba Fett in this, so we'll just make it's Boba Fett, but he's got yellow on his helmet instead of red. And then they decided, you know what, Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit. So now we have these 2 Boba Fett characters running around, and then they built that into the story of Boba Fett hunting down fake Boba Fett, Jodo Cast, and taking him out. But I think it's hilarious that poor Jodo Cast lives or dies on whether or not Boba Fett lives or dies.
So wait, where was there a fake Thrawn?
Oh, the
Thrawn duology?
Spectre of the Past, Vision of the Future. Those were, I think, the two books that kind of ended the first round of novels before the new Jedi Order started. And it like seeded some of the ideas of the Yuuzhan Vong, and that there's this big galactic threat out there, or extra galactic threat. And there were Thrawn clones.
See, this is why I can't handle Star Wars Legends. Like, what do we do with this story? What does this need? How do we move on? How do we move forward from here? Clones.
I mean, canon did it too.
Well, not
you can't throw shade at
not
Legends.
as bad. All of Palpatine's clones, Luke's clone, Thrawn had a clone.
There were a lot of clones. I give you that.
Bad writing, am I right?
Stop it.
I'm kidding.
Stop it.
I'm kidding.
I don't even want to joke about it.
Do you think Eli Vanto is going to be in Ahsoka?
I'm not holding my breath, but that would be like the Cobb Vanth of Ahsoka for me. If he popped up, I will lose it because I love that character. But it's the same thing where there were rumors of Cobb Vanth being in The Mandalorian, and I was like, no, that won't happen. And then it happened, and it was awesome.
Ice, thanks for the next super chat. Still hasn't sunk in for me that Ahsoka is right around the corner. I have my worries because of the strikes and the way Bad Batch / Mando were treated by the fandom, but I'm still looking forward to it. Yeah, it's, what, a couple weeks away?
23rd.
That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, about 4, just under 4 weeks. Did the fandom treat Bad Batch and Mando poorly?
Mando, I could kind of see.
Yeah, yeah. I
Bad
guess
Batch,
so.
not so much, but
I guess, yeah. The only stuff I saw of Bad Batch was like either no one was talking about it, or only like the Bad Batch fans were talking about it, so it was like good stuff. But I also have a pretty curated online experience as far as whose opinions I see, so yeah, I'm really excited. And the strikes have definitely like put things in a weird position for a lot of people, so hopefully they can come to an agreement soon. Pay your writers and your actors.
yeah, everything I see coming out of the
Screw AI.
strike, yeah, it's just a bunch of rich dumb people that don't understand the actual medium, and they're like, well, AI can just do it. It's like,
It's gonna be garbage.
if that's all Star Wars was, just AI written stories, I mean, we would stop doing this channel, because I have no interest in covering something that doesn't have actual humanity behind it, a story that's not written. I mean, like, we've done those jokey, they're not doing them anymore. Blue Bantha Milk did Star Wars written by AI, and the whole point of it was that it's terrible, and we would do live readings of it and be like, this is awful,
and it wouldn't make sense at times, and like
it never made sense.
you could tell it was trying to make sense, and then it would just butcher everything. I need to listen to their stream. They did a stream talking about the presence of AI now, because obviously they're gonna put that series on hold for a bit just because the topic is quite sensitive right now. But it sucks because like that was something we did for fun, to be funny and to show purposefully like this is why AI is bad. But yeah, I keep seeing people talk about these job listings for AI writing.
Oh yeah, we can't afford to pay our writers, but here's a job listing for $900,000 a year to
That's crazy.
head up the AI division.
And you know people are going to take that.
Yeah, I'm worried about the AI side of things. That's just what executives will do. But
Yeah, I mean that just AI in general for writing and stuff like that, it can get pretty dangerous, I think. And like
yeah,
all these executives have been for like the past 10 years have been like dipping their toes in more and more, and then like they're making too much of this AI stuff, and then they're thinking like, oh, we can just rely on this, and like that's not gonna work.
I mean, we're also seeing it. It's just, again, they don't get what make movies special or stories in general. Like there's pieces that I definitely missed, and I don't know where they go, so I'm just gonna move on. But like Barbie is doing incredibly well, and Mattel's like, Toy Cinematic Universe, Polly Pocket movie is coming, and it's like,
you're missing the point.
Stop. Like,
all they see is freaking dollar signs.
We didn't watch it because it's Barbie. We watched it because, like, I mean, I can't say the movie's good yet, but I've only heard good things, and it's like, that's why people are excited about it, because it's a good movie.
Well, I mean, a lot of little kids are gonna watch it because it's Barbie, but
sure,
hopefully when they leave the theater, they will feel empowered as women and still enjoy playing with Barbies. Like,
you're right about the kids, but still, it's just like, focus on making good. Or Paramount said that they're going to focus on just their current IPs and nothing else, and they're not going to bother making new stories. And it's like, if that's how people thought, and movies growing up, like Star Wars never would have been made.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been Flash Gordon, which did happen eventually, but probably only because Star Wars happened, and they were like, oh, we can capitalize off of this.
Right.
Ugh.
All right, moving on here, we've got two from Darth Nicholas. What are the chances the non-clone female scientist from the Bad Batch, Dr. Skalder, who first appeared in the season 1 finale and returned in season 2, will also get the spotlight in season 3 and perhaps some character development? I mean, with the reveal that we got at the end of season 2, we're definitely going to learn more about that character.
That's a different character.
Oh, who's this?
The non-clone scientist.
Nah, we don't care about her.
Nah, I think she'll be around.
Only the lady that said she was her sister. And then could we see Omega making her live-action debut in Andor Season 2, depending on whether The Bad Batch Season 3 is released yet? No, I don't think we're going to see Omega in live-action. But
definitely not in Andor, I would guess no.
What do you think about the first one, then, about the scientist?
Yeah, I think she'll be around. I don't know why they would introduce the character and then just have her disappear. I think she'll be on Tantus. But yeah, I don't see... I do think there's going to be some cameos, some more familiar appearances in Andor Season 2, but I'm not expecting a ton of them. Like, that just doesn't seem like Tony Gilroy's vibe.
Mm-hmm. I love Omega. I don't think she fits in Andor the way that you can make a puzzle piece fit if you really push hard enough, but I don't think she fits there.
Andor's a different beast, I think.
Cyrus has the next one. With Young Jedi Adventures continuing next week, what or who would you like to make an appearance? Think I'd love Buryaga, Bell, and Loden, or Avar. If Loden was there, I would cry. Avar seems like a good choice because she's kind of front and center in Phase 1 a lot, and like she's one of the more recognizable ones. But so is Burry.
I think Burry makes the most sense just because...
Burry's getting his own children's book, too.
Yep. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And he's been
Corporate synergy.
he has been front and center in all of the children's books. Like, they've done children book adaptations of all 3 adult novels, which I really need to pour through those, because I'm like, how'd you do that? How'd you pull off the Attack on the Republic Fair and the Fall of Starlight Beacon? I want to know what they adapted and what they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Buryaga makes the most sense.
Yeah, we saw the cover of that at Star Wars Celebration, I think.
And they showed it off at Comic-Con again.
Yeah. Ice has the next 2. Both the Bad Batch Season 2 and Mando Season 3 were dunked on and constantly compared to Andor and hated on for not being that show. It's enabled an elitist attitude, and I'm scared that will continue into Ahsoka and others. Not to say there weren't legit criticisms of both seasons. There were, but I see a lot of constant bashing on both for not being Andor, and I hate it. It's stupid to compare those shows to Andor. I'm sorry. Like, anyone comparing those are probably just critics and reviewers that don't know Star Wars very well.
I mean, I'm sure there were fans doing it too that just like, now that Andor's here, all I want is Andor.
Right, just angry fans that like thought Andor was this like fine steak, and then every other Star Wars story they see come along, it's gonna be like, oh, this is just
fast food.
What's a bad
McDonald's.
food? Yeah. I was gonna say slop. I don't know why I went into a food metaphor, but I didn't really see that many fans doing it. But again,
I didn't
curated
either.
Experience.
But yeah,
like
we just don't really dig into fan conversation that much anymore.
Yeah.
Outside of people we would talk to anyways, or like we're choosy with who we listen to.
Right.
Like Force Center.
And I don't like calling people dumb, because it's typically not very fair to say, but I just think it's a really, really bad idea to try to compare a show like Mando Season 3 or Bad Batch to a show like Andor.
It's silly to compare the two.
Right.
How about that?
Quite silly. Darth Nicholas, thanks for the next one. Would a Star Wars movie trilogy devoid of any Force sensitives and lightsabers whatsoever interest you? If so, what would you want it to be?
Pilots. I'm pilot.
I'm pilot.
Yeah, I would watch that Rogue Squadron movie. If there were no Force sensitives in it, don't care.
I mean, yeah, I think it could be done, and it would obviously interest us. Would it interest the rest of the world? Maybe not.
Maybe not. And I mean, I was surprised when they initially were like, our next movie is Rogue Squadron. I was like, I mean, I'm running around the room happy, but I don't know that everyone else is.
Mm-hmm. Like, I have a feeling they're putting so much money into the Acolyte because it's got a ton of Jedi and lightsabers and probably like Force related stuff in it. So it's gonna probably do pretty well and reach a pretty wide audience because of that. But, you know, the way we like to enjoy Star Wars, I think a movie with none of those things in it would be really interesting and harder to do. But I'd see it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be excited about it.
There were no Force sensitives in the Alphabet Squadron books, and those books rock. I love them.
And I didn't love them as much, but
that's fine.
That's potato. Oh, no, Indy. Oh, is that the bag of sand?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
It's so big. It's just that it's Santa's bag from like other sets.
Is
but
it really?
It's just painted tan.
Lego, I see what you're doing. So there's a Santa crossover in the indie universe. David Kaplan, thank you for the next super chat. Isn't it amazing that Daisy Ridley is back after she said she was done, and now rumors about John Boyega wants back in after he really was done with it? I mean,
I'm happy.
At the end of the day, they're getting paid.
Yep.
Not a small amount. So I'm not surprised anytime an actor in Star Wars says, I'm done, and then they come back. Harrison Ford did it.
We also don't know the extent of their roles. Like, I think Daisy Ridley will have a pretty big role in the movie, but it could just be that she's like a Yoda figure that is there, comes in and out, but the movies could be focused on a new cast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because, I mean, any actor who works for 10 or so years straight, it wasn't that long, but at least 5 years straight on the same franchise, I'm like, yeah, I get why you'd want to take a break.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Daisy said that she would... I don't think Daisy ever said she was going to be done with Star Wars forever.
I can't remember the quote. She said something along the lines of wanting a break at least, but
Yeah, I mean, John Boyega might have said he didn't want to ever do it again, but I think they both did exactly what they wanted to, which was to take a nice long break. They both got to do a couple of like indie, more interesting projects and roles. Like, I think Daisy just got done either writing or producing her own movie, but like they have other passions, and so totally cool for them to want to get away from Star Wars and do other things with their career. But when the right story comes along, and if they're into the way that their character is being portrayed, which is, if John Boyega comes back, it'll have to be on his terms, I think, and like he'll have to really appreciate the way that they're handling Finn's story
Right.
going forward.
let's not just allude to Finn being force sensitive. Let's put a lightsaber in his hand and it's his lightsaber. That'd be nice.
Another one from Darth Nicholas here. Some accuse Dave Filoni of ruining the continuity in Legends, especially as it relates to the Clone Wars multimedia project, while heaping copious amounts of praise on George Lucas without realizing George Lucas also retconned stuff. So goofy.
I mean, from what I've seen, I think Filoni was the one fighting for Legends stuff when George would need something. I'm trying to recall, like the Marg Sable maneuver is something that Thrawn did.
The what?
It's something that Thrawn did in Legends in his original trilogy of books, and then I believe it was Filoni that worked it into an episode where Ahsoka does it. And then Timothy Zahn turned around and had Thrawn learn about it from Ahsoka, or through Anakin. But like, that was this fun little turnaround of them tossing story ideas back and forth. But yeah, I don't think Filoni, if anything, I think Filoni was the one fighting for more Legends stuff to be in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, because I mean, I can imagine George has an idea, George says idea out loud, and wants to walk away and just say, there it is, there's my idea, make it happen. And then I could see Dave being the one who's like, well, we could do this other thing that's like very similar to your idea, and then they can figure it out from there.
And Dave read the books, and George, by all accounts, his own mouth, didn't.
Right.
So I think Dave would have been the one to say, hey, we could do this.
In fact, I think if Dave Filoni made the Clone Wars without George Lucas's involvement, it would be more consistent with what was established in the Clone Wars multimedia project. We know there wouldn't be any Ahsoka without George Lucas. I'm glad I can't talk anymore. I'm glad she exists.
I think that's probably true about Filoni. I don't know what I am building. Oh, cool. It lights up.
Oh.
Kind of like shines a light down on the...
Oh, yeah. I always wondered how lighting worked in those caves. Seems like that idol had really great lighting.
What was...
It's all a series of mirrors.
That's I think it's a Sean Astin story. He was talking about... He was like there for the Two Towers when they were filming the Helm's Deep scenes, even though he wasn't in them. And he asked the director of photography, it was like, it's really bright for a nighttime scene. Where's all the light coming from? And the director of photography was like, same place as the music. Nice.
That's a good answer.
I like that.
I mean, yeah, everyone complains. I complain when the scene is so dark that you can't see what the heck's going on. So put some fake lighting in there. Maybe in the Tolkien universe, the moon is real bright. All right. I need a potty break.
Okay.
But you can read the next one if you want.
Can you read it for me?
I cannot. I got enough.
Thanks for another one, Darth Nicholas. There would also be no Rex without George Lucas, since ARC Trooper Alpha 17 from the comics was supposed to be the main clone of the Clone Wars, but Lucas hated his alterations, so I'm happy with the change. Yeah, I'm also happy with the change, because I love Rex. And I love Rex more than Alpha 17. I didn't get super into the Clone Wars multimedia stuff when it was coming out. I watched like the micro series in the build up to what am I looking for? In the build up to Revenge of the Sith. But that was my senior year of high school, and then after that, that's when I went to college, and what I like to refer to as the dark times for me, where I just didn't have enough time for Star Wars, so I missed out on like the Old Republic MMO when it was coming out. I didn't keep up with the books nearly as much, and I never was much of a comic person growing up. My friend had a few of them, so I read like Dark Empire and Crimson Empire and the big ones, but comics were not something that I super got into for Star Wars until really this channel. And I was like, I should just keep up with all of it. Jeff, speaking of Rex, well, all the clones really, D. Bradley Baker is coming to Dragon Con. Maybe.
Huh?
D. Bradley Baker coming to Dragon Con.
Is that happening? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but
maybe not because of the strikes.
Yeah,
we'll see.
There were quite a few Star Wars actors announced for Dragon Con this year, which is great. I don't know if they will go through with it, and I wouldn't blame them if they didn't, because I mean, like, they can't talk about anything, so they wouldn't be able to talk about anything Star Wars. So then it's kind of like, what would they do at panels? But if people wanted to go and get their autographs and then and not ask them any questions, I'm like, I hope they do come.
Yeah.
Because I'd love for them to come in the future.
It might also depend on when they signed a contract to come.
That's true. That's true.
Wasn't that part of the stipulation? Like, if you signed a contract before the strikes started,
yeah,
you should fulfill your contract.
Still.
But yeah, actively they wouldn't want to be talking about current projects.
And people drop out of Dragon Con and other cons all the time. Like, sometimes things just come up, and this is something that I could see having come up. But for now, I think everyone's crossing their fingers that the AMTPT, is that AAMPTP, stops being stupid and pays their writers and actors.
Yeah. Ice says, on a positive note, though, I'm just happy we're finally getting the story I've been dying to see since Rebels ended. I rewatched the trailer for the first time since it dropped and liked it even more. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm excited. And watching Rebels is just getting me more and more excited.
I'm excited to meet Balin and Shin. They are intriguing to me. I want to know what they're all about, and I like that they're mysterious, and one of them's a former Jedi, and
I want to see Chopper.
I'm excited to see Chopper. We were joking about, like, is he gonna roll around on his one middle wheel to go fast with like two blasters? And how cartoony are they gonna go with Chopper? I want to see them go full. Let him loose.
Yeah.
Let him cook. Is that what the kids say now?
Let him cook.
Yeah.
That sounds like something from
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen it on Twitter or X or whatever stupid thing that's being called now.
Let him serve. David Kaplan, thanks for another super chat. I know hindsight is a pain, but would things have been different if Lucas had stayed on when the merger took place? P.S. Did you like Barbie? We haven't seen it yet. We're going to see it tomorrow. But I can preemptively tell you, yes. I'm pretty confident that we are going to enjoy Barbie quite a bit.
I'm excited. I'm sure things would have been different if George Lucas stayed on.
Yeah.
Because he would have gone with his treatment. But thing is, he didn't want to stay on.
Understandably.
I mean, in his own words, why would I want to make any more when people just get mad at you?
Yeah. Which is, it's a wonder that we even still get Star Wars projects today, because that continues to happen, but it happens in every fandom. It just, Star Wars, the prequels really, really got hit hard with it, and
well, the prequels had the unfortunate timing of being released like during the advent of the internet.
Right.
We talked about this on our last Q&A, but I've been listening to The Redemption of Jar Jar Binks. It's a TED Talk podcast, and it's really well done and really interesting. Just exploring how that all happened. And the first like main character of the internet being Jar Jar Binks and how that's evolved since then.
Yeah, and like how Ahmed Best was treated, not just by the fans, but like you were telling me about that magazine cover.
Yeah. Like
they had this magazine cover where it was kind of like a behind the scenes shot and everyone was there, but Jar Jar was CGI Jar Jar instead of Ahmed Best with the suit on.
Right. And so it was just the way that Ahmed and Jar Jar were already dehumanized before the movie even came out, so it was like primed for people to be like, oh, it's okay to make fun of that because there's not a person behind it.
Yeah, which is awful. I won't stand for this Ahmed Best erasure. I'm taking a question from not John. Oh my gosh. I need food. I'm starting to lose it. Josh Mansfield asks for Alex, what your favorite level in the Rise of the Empire campaign in the old Star Wars Battlefront 2 video game is.
I've never played it.
Wasted question. No,
sorry.
Kidding. They said just got over 100 kills during a level.
I've played some multiplayer, but I did not have a console to run it when I was at home, and then I was at college. I think it came out in Battlefront 2. Trying to remember. I think Battlefront 2 came out in 2005. But that was another one. I was just talking about my dark times of Star Wars where I just didn't keep up with it as much, and I think that was in there. I've played some multiplayer in it, but I have never done just like the campaign.
He said, "What? You need to play it. How much do I need to super chat next week?"
I've got it. I should just stream that. Like, I think it would be fun to do a series of just stream all the video games. Like, let's start with the Atari Empire Strikes Back game and go through them. And I'm not gonna beat them all, but let's just experience all of them.
I mean, we'll have some downtime after Ahsoka, so we'll see. And you know what? If the strikes keep going, we might have a lot of downtime, which is okay. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
We're not lacking in stuff to talk about. And Darth Nicholas asks, I was very young and don't remember the prequel Backlash that well, but which Backlash would you say was harsher and more toxic, the prequel or the sequel Backlash? That is tough because the sequel Backlash has gotten so much more visceral, and it's been boiled down to just men hating women, and like the far right have taken it upon themselves to turn Star Wars into a way for them to be mad at everything.
It's very, yeah. I think probably the sequels, because of the state of the internet now and that you can commercialize hate. Back in the early days of the internet, there were some terrible and stupid fan sites made about Jar Jar and hating Jar Jar, but they came and went, and people moved on to something else. Whereas now, people are able to commercialize hate and keep it going.
Yeah, back then it was a lot more like making fun of George, making fun of the characters, making fun of people who liked it. Now
that does still happen.
That does still happen, but the kind of hatred that it morphs into nowadays is just like so much more straightforward and like, oh, this isn't about these movies.
Right.
This is about the kind of terrible person you are, and you're taking your views, your very bad views on the world, and twisting it into fit Star Wars, and then taking that and like, yeah, doing a stupid podcast about it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I do too.
It just makes me tired thinking about it.
All the time.
Yeah. We could, if we wanted to just make a lot of money, we would start hating on things.
I like liking things. Liking things is my favorite.
Yeah, I can't even imagine trying to attract that side of fandoms. I wouldn't be able to live with myself, you know, but I mean, Some people do make a living off that. I saw someone earlier say, have you guys heard the rumors that Disney is selling Star Wars back to George Lucas? Ridiculous, right?
Yes.
That would be hilarious. And there's no way George would buy it back. Not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I can say that pretty confidently. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not going to pretend I know what George thinks, but I would be shocked.
Unless he's getting a little senile in his old age and he's like, yeah, I could do it. But like, I don't know. He just seems like he was so done with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Matt Lang said the prequels seemed more hated by the general audience, but sequel hate got political. Yeah, unfortunately. Darth Nicholas, thanks for another super chat. Even once Kathleen Kennedy steps down, some will go as far as to claim that she's still controlling things from the shadows. Yes, she will be their Palpatine, no matter what we think, who throws them over what edge. They're still around and pulling the strings.
Oh, neat. This is neat.
Explain.
I'm building like this statue that will come out of the wall, but only so far because of what I'm building now. But just this thing has a lot of moving parts to it, and I like it.
I wish we still had our Lego cam or our hand cam.
It just never worked, our GoPro thing.
Yeah, so you guys could see up close. We can probably hold it up to the camera once he's done. Was that in the movie?
Yeah, like, I mean, the whole temple just starts to crumble.
Oh, I see.
And so it...
Huh. That looks like a Zelda character.
I'm almost done.
I'm excited for us, for you guys to start seeing these pop up in our Q&As. We did the first one today, so it'll come out on Saturdays. But we got the Star Wars conversation cards written by the one and only Kelly Knox, and I'm trying not to flip through all of them because I want to kind of savor the cards. But I have a feeling I'll get into these tomorrow night. But they
I have a feeling you're going to get into them right now.
Pretty cool. I'm just looking at the art. Oh, there's like different categories. Mm-hmm. The galaxy, the force, technology.
Do one.
Okay.
Well, we're talking about them. Like,
I
people should see.
Get them out of order. But I'm going to get them out of order tomorrow. Wait. Technology, creatures. What category are you feeling?
Let's do creatures.
Creatures? Or characters?
We did a characters one earlier today, so.
Oh wait, that's characters. Alright. Minox ingest energy from power cables. Do you have any favorite late night snacks? Perfect. Favorite late night snacks. So I'm more of a salty snacker than a sweet snacker. It really just depends on what we have in the house. But in the past, I've really liked to cut tomatoes in half and put like salt and pepper and like some balsamic vinegar on them. Or chips. I try not to have chips in the house because if they're in the house, we'll just sit and eat them and watch TV. But just about any chip is a good late night snack.
I'm more sugar. I like cookies of any kind.
Sean knows about my chips. That night at Celebration when everyone was in our room and I was just sitting there like drunkenly eating chips. Top 5 chips. Ooh. All right. Spicy nacho Doritos. Salt and vinegar. Lay's barbecue. Like the original, just like the thin, crispy ones. Kettle salt and pepper chips. What's another good chip?
Jalapeno.
Oh no, those dill pickle chips that we had at Tony's that one time. I forget what brand those were. Ooh, sour cream and onion are good. I like the Ruffles sour cream and onion chips with Dean's French onion dip. God, that brings me back. I would eat that, like, especially during the summertime. We would like go swim in the pool. My neighbor had a pool. We would go swim across the street and then come home and have a sandwich, and I would just like power down chips and French onion dip.
I just want cookies.
You just want cookies,
Yep.
and I never have cookies in the house. I'm sorry.
It's probably for the best.
Doritos, nacho cheese, Tostitos scoops, salsa, and guac. Yeah. I mean, any Doritos I think are pretty good. The purple bag is another good one. Are we done?
Just about. Just gotta put it all together.
And find out where it goes in the house. Pringles are good too. I always forget about Pringles.
I haven't had Pringles in forever.
I used to be so jealous of kids at school that had those little Pringle packs. Be like, oh, give me your Pringles. I'll beat you up. Pringles are good to have when you're drunk because it's hard to get to the bottom of the can and eat them all, says Matt Lang. I mean, that sounds like a challenge, and I love a good challenge. I'd get my hands stuck in the can, trying to get them out. Ooh, yeah, the voodoo flavored Zaps are good. I forget about. We've had those before. The Zaps chips.
Zaps, I know.
You would know the cover. We had the voodoo flavored ones at Elisa's for her birthday. No, you weren't there. Never mind.
But it's done.
I just assumed you were there because I was there. We're done?
It's done.
It's done. Oh, I missed this super chat from Darth Nicholas. To lighten things up, did you see... how do you say his name? Iman Esfandi's shout out to Timothy Zahn.
Oh, no.
No. What did he say? Was he like, Thrawn's my dude. We bonded.
Maybe he just said, I love Timothy Zahn.
That looks pretty cool.
All right. I know you gotta cook, or we have to cook, so you can go to go to trivia.
Keep talking.
I'm trying to help you get to trivia faster.
You're right. I do have a trivia to go host. So we're going to end it here. The next LEGO stream, we'll be back to building Star Wars, and we'll have a whole new thumbnail.
we'll figure out what we're gonna build. I've got sets down there. We'll decide. Probably a helmet.
Hang it from the ceiling. Everyone says that. One day we'll actually do it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to everyone sending in super chats. We could not do this without you guys, and we really appreciate it. So we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.